for stopping by the channel. My name's Leah, and let's talk about Real Housewives of Dubai. This is season 1, episode 2, and it was a pretty decent episode, so let's get into it. Mind you, it's 10:18 p.m. where I'm at, so we trying to get these videos out because tomorrow, which is Friday, I got a lot of stuff to do. Okay, y'all, so the episode opens off and we're at Sarah's. She's the first person we get introduced to or for this episode. Her, and I think the way you say her son's name is Maktoum. He's like 6 years old. He's very like, he a lot. And that's not to like rag on the kid or anything. It's just that like he really has a fully developed personality, and that's cool. But I know like I couldn't take him. Like he gives me very much, he don't know how to sit down and be quiet. And I needs that. But they were making a cake in the kitchen with the nanny. And I actually was happy that when she asked him, like, should women only cook or should men only cook? And he was like, no, both. So we find out that Sarah is trying her best to instill very good values in her son. She talks about how in Dubai, toxic masculinity is practiced heavily, where it's like men aren't supposed to cry, they aren't supposed to show any emotion other than anger and being very stoic, but they're human beings. And that's totally true. Like even over here, toxic masculinity be killing y'all, well, as it pertains to men, and y'all just and us and women as well, but it really be taking y'all out. Y'all be dying before everybody because you keep all of that bottle inside. Y'all stay locked up. Y'all say the suicide rate is like rising. So it's just kind of crazy to me that men don't find the need to want to change that. But I was glad that she spoke about that. One thing that was interesting to me was that she said she was divorced twice. I thought she was divorced only one time. But I guess that's why it's important to, like, you know, have more information, because I really thought she was only divorced once, not twice. But a little tea, y'all, supposedly, and I don't know how true this is, so rumor with no regard, so all of this is alleged. But if you've seen that horrible BDSM movie 365 on Netflix, the main, like the leading character, word on the curve is him and Sarah used to be engaged. Like, dude got like a tattoo of her name right here. Then when they broke up, he like scratched it out, not scratched it out, but like marked it out. But they're saying they used to be a thing, and there's like a picture of them floating around being together. But you know, it's a rumor with no regard because we don't got factual evidence. But they would make a very beautiful couple to me, and like in all regards, like they would be a very beautiful couple. One thing I will say is you could tell that that man really thought like that movie was gonna like skyrocket him to fame. And even off the show, like not off the show, but off the movie, because I did go like look at his Instagram and stuff. He was really feeling his zhuzh, as some people would say. Like he was feeling it. So he gave very much like, I know I'm sexy and I'm gonna be an asshole about it. So if they were together, it would make sense because they would look great together. But it would also make sense that Sarah likes to get with people that she thinks she can fix. And he gives very much, I'm a bad boy in need of fixing. So it makes sense. I think the only thing that annoyed me about this scene was Maktoum, his little bad self. He didn't want to sit on the floor because, you know, Sarah was trying to explain to him, like, you know, back in the day, not when she was growing up, they ate on the floor. They had all their meals on the floor, and that's just how they grew up. That's tradition. He did not want to eat on that floor. He did not. He just wanted to sit on, like, you know, sit beside his nanny and eat his food at the table. And it bothered me how quickly she kind of gave up. I wish she would have like forced him to do it. But I also understand she was like, she didn't want to like force him. She wanted him to come to it on his own. The only thing that is like, what if he never does? Like, guess it's great for the world to like progress, because some things in society are archaic and barbaric and we do need progression. But tradition is also important too. there's certain things that we even do in our family that we still do today that I know that my family back in like the 20s and 30s, that's what they did. So I think it's important to have those types of tradition. It's in the way, like, especially for minorities, it's in the way we cook food, the way we say greetings. Like, those things are important, like, very much so. So I hope he doesn't, like, I hope he comes to wanting to know more about his culture and he doesn't lose it, you know? Because, I mean, they are living in a city where they are the minority. They only make up 12% of the population and everybody else makes up 80. So I would hope that, 88, I would hope that he would come to wanting to be a part of, like, to learn that stuff about his culture. So the next thing we see is with Brooks and Lisa. So they meet up for drinks. They both look really pretty. Like, honestly, this cast is very beautiful. Like, everybody on here is not, like, ain't nobody booked. Everybody looks good. Very, like, all of them are very beautiful women. So they're sitting at the table. They were talking about how it's been a minute since they just had time to like catch up with each other. We find out that Brooks has known Lisa since, I want to say, her middle son, which is Maximilian, because I think Sebastian is the oldest, and then Kristen is the youngest son, the little cute little baby. So they were talking about how they've been cool. They were also like, I felt like the scene ran too long because we got all the tea like within like 3 minutes. So, and it felt like they were just dragging the scene out. So, like I said, we found out that Brooks and Lisa have known each other since her her middle child. We also find out that like Nina been talking cash. Nina used to talk cash, or maybe still has been talking cash money-ish about Stansberry. It seems like it because Brooks, being messy, pulls out her phone and she was like, girl, did you see what Nina said? Nina said, girl, like it perplexed me. So what we find out is that Nina had told everybody kind of to stay away from Stansberry. And we found that out in the first episode where she was like, she didn't really like Caroline Stansberry like that. But once they got to know each other, they were able to like build a friendship. But it seems like before they became friends, sis was like running the name through the mud because on the like the picture it says like they like Brooke shows her like a screenshot of a story where Nina says all blondes need a good brunette friend, and it's a picture of Stansberry and Nina. And then we find out when Lisa does her confessional that she was like, before Stansberry and Lisa became friends, like Nina used to tell Lisa not to be cool with Stansberry, that like the girl was ghetto, that she was ratchet, that like that's not somebody you want to associate yourself with. And Lisa was like, those were the nice things she said about her. Like the really kind things. She like, those were the good things in a sense. So it's like Nina might be the one out here starting the mess and talking about the people. So they were laughing that off. And then they talked about Ayan, how Brooks and Ayan stay fighting, but then they be cool 10 minutes ago. But Brooks is trying to act like she don't understand why Ayan was mad at her. When I'm like, girl, you was playing with that lady's emotions, and you was wrong for it. Definitely wrong for it. So then the next scene we see is of Sergio, Caroline, Sarah, and Brooks all going over Stansberry's house. And we get a little bit more history about what it's like to live in Dubai. So Stansberry has been renting the home that we see her in now. And currently her and Sergio are building a new house like on like one of the waterfronts. And she was saying that in Dubai, it is extremely hard to get a home if you're self-employed. I think she was like, you have to show like 40 or 30% of the profits that you can afford said home before you can even like begin to build. So she was just kind of like telling the ladies that she never even thought that she would live in Dubai. She always thought like, okay, we were only going to stay here for a while, but then they decided to make this their home. And Sarah was like, girl, and you can't just leave Dubai. And again, the native population is 12%. The rest of the population, the 88 population is all people that have transplanted, or they call them expats, to come to Dubai and live and stay there for like decades. So it's kind of like, of course you would want to stay here. So everybody has a little puppy. Caroline got like 3 dogs, like 2 Pomeranians and a golden doodle. And they're all sitting at the table. This is where I'm looking at Brooks funny, because they start talking about the dinner and how like they felt like the energy was off with Ayan. And Sarah is like the only one that was like, I think Ayan was triggered because her responses were too rapid. And then we find out that Sarah is a certified life coach. I also like the fact that Sarah doesn't show up a lot in glam. She's just like, girl, the mug is pretty as it is. I don't need to enhance it too much. And because I don't think we've seen a lot of housewives just go bare face. But Sarah knows she pretty. So Stansberry is just kind of like, girl, I'm sorry that she's going through like trauma or she was triggered by what happened, but I don't want to be around her. I don't want her triggering me, so I don't want to be around her. When she's afforded that right. What I call bull is Brooks trying to act like, I don't even know why she came at me. Like, she's never came at me this hard. When just a few minutes ago, when you was having dinner with Lisa, you said you and Ayan fight like cats and dogs. So what are you talking about? Like, she was like, she just came at me. And I'm like, Brooks, you knew what you were doing. You basically told a lady that she wasn't important enough to be a part of Caroline's hen party or be invited to Caroline's hen party, and you knew it hurt her feelings and you were gloating in that. So it's kind of weird that you sitting here acting like you don't get why that girl chewed your head off. Like, and it also was weird that Sergio was just sitting there. I was like, Sergio, if you don't get up, you are not a part of this scene. Go sit in the house. Go play with one of them dogs and go sit in the house. Like, let it go. Let it go. So the next scene is with Miss Ayan and Nina. They're having like a lunch date. One thing I will give Miss Ayan is she gonna commit to a look. Even if it don't look good. She will commit to a look. She said she the fashion girl, and she said y'all gonna see these fashions. And I like the fact that she wore several different outfits, like 3 different outfits throughout this whole entire. We even got a new confessional look. Like Ayan said, y'all gonna get all of this high fashion model beauty. So she comes in, she got like a blonde bob, like I mean a bob, and then it got a bang, not the bang, and it's blonde. She has on like a fur coat that's blonde. She has on these blonde looking Givenchy boots. So it's like the Givenchy boots were like $1,100, and then the blonde coat was $3,000. I ain't like the outfit, but she committed. Then the outfit that she wore for Lisa's I was about to say her family reunion, y'all. For her Thanksgiving, she looked really pretty. It was a black dress. She kind of had her hair like in one of those like really dreamy, whimsical styles. She looked really pretty, and it was like pulled back. And then when she went to meet with Sarah at the end of the episode, she had on like this really nice looking like kente cloth kind of outfit. Or I'll say African pattern, because I don't think everyone calls it kente cloth. Black people call it kente cloth. And then she had on a fro, a cute little fro, like a big poofy fro. And then she debuted a new confessional look, and sis had on gloves. She had it looked like a kind of like swan feathers up here, or ostrich feathers poofed out. Got another little bob with the bang. I said, Eon said, y'all gonna get these fashions whether you like it or not. She said, bitch, I'm a model. I rock Paris runways, if you don't know. But she looked good. She looked good. Out of all the outfits I mentioned, this outfit with the blonde, it just wasn't doing it for me. I did not like that wig. That wig looked cheap. Every other outfit she wore, I thought looked actually really good on her. So she's sitting down with Nina. We find out that her and Nina have known each other for a while. Ayan apologizes to Nina, where she was like, she didn't mean to like ruin her dinner because she knew she worked hard on it. But she did feel some type of way that Nina did not come to her defense with Stansberry. And like I said, Ayan and Nina have known each other longer than I guess Nina has known Stansberry. And Nina was like, what do you mean? Like, I tried to stop y'all from fighting, but I couldn't do, I just couldn't do it all. And she was like, no, you really, like, Ayan's like, no, you really didn't. And she was like, well, Ayan's like, well, why would y'all talk about a party that I wasn't invited to? And Nina was just kind of like, well, okay, you weren't invited. And Ayan is like, and Ayan's like, well, did you go to the party? She said yes. And she was like, well, it seems to me Ayan felt like, why would any of my friends go to a party that I wasn't invited to? But it's not like these women are not cool with Stansberry. It would be different if they weren't cool with Stansberry and they were all clicked up with Ayan, and then Stansberry invited everybody and Ayan didn't like get an invite, and they just left her when all of them were just like in the clique talking trash about Stansberry. But it does seem like people have their own relationships with Stansberry outside of their relationship with Ayan. So it's weird. And I did agree with Nina when Nina was like, you don't like her and she don't like you, so why does it matter that you weren't invited? And it does lend to the fact that like you were triggered and you were just bothered. But you said you don't like the lady. Like you said you really don't like the lady. She even did that like my favorite line of this whole entire episode. She was like, if she like when Ayan was in her confession in the orange, where she was like, she's showing me her true colors. She was like, if you show me that you were orange. No, when she's like, when you show me that you were blue, why would I think you were orange? Like that was one of my favorite quips from her. And then with the period dot. So I just feel like you're pressed, and then we find out that Sis was triggered. But it's also like no one's responsible for your triggers. Should people not trigger others? Yes, but no one can be 24/7 like in your brain knowing what's going to trigger you or set you off. So Nina's trying to understand like why does it matter that you weren't invited? And what we find out is like it's more so the whole like she wasn't important enough to be invited, which I'm kind of like, that's semantics of words, because it's like Caroline invited the people that were important in her life and the people that she cared about. Just like if Ayan were to have like a bachelorette party or even any party of that nature that she felt that was like significant in her life, I don't think Stansberry gonna get an invite. Just saying. So we find out that it, like I said, it was more so the important word. So Ayan says, she was like, how I grew up with my dad is how emotional I am. She's like, you don't know the sadness I've gone through. My dad used to beat me over my sister because I wasn't important to him, okay? So I have so much pain from things like that. So it's like she was really triggered by them saying she wasn't important enough to be a part of the party, which sucks. Like, she didn't deserve to be belittled or physically abused by her father. But it's like, you can't. It's kind of not fair. I will say that. It's kind of not fair to use that as a justification why you are so angry with like Stansberry, because Stansberry didn't say that you weren't important. She co-signed it at the end of the episode, but the person you really should have so much like energy for it should be Brooks, because Brooks was the one who put that in your head by calling you and telling you you weren't important enough to be invited to the show, not the show, but to the hen party. Well, Nina was like, well, can y'all sit down? Can you and Stansberry sit down and have a talk? And Ayan is like, no. And Nina was like, well, we trying to like douse the fires and let it go. And Ayan's like, girl, it's a volcano. It's a volcano. And they move on. So the next scene we see is Caroline, Stansberry, and Sergio at the mall trying on, what was it, them at the mall? Yeah, they was at the mall trying on, jewelry. I love the like landscape scenes that they show of Dubai, mainly because I've never been there, so I enjoy seeing like cities and towns and stuff. So I love when they do the sky view. I especially love when they do the sky view of like the interstate and stuff. I just think it's so cool. Girl, Stansberry got coin because they up in, I don't know what store they were in, but they were trying on jewelry, and everything she tried on was over $1 million. She put on a watch. The watch was $1,800,000. Then she put on this beautiful necklace that was $5,600,000. Money. Then for some weird reason, Sergio started crying. And I'm like, are you crying because you feel like you happy you hit a lick? Like, it was weird. Like, he just started crying. And I'm like, oh, sir, you're scamming. we are scamming. And I think Sergio was just happy that he, like I said, he hit a lick and he hit a big fish, and the big fish got enough money to be sitting in the mall trying on $1 million watches and $5 million necklaces. I just couldn't. The next scene we see is of Lisa and her youngest child, Kristen. They're going to the grocery store. I actually enjoyed seeing this scene too. I wanted to know what they got up in the grocery store. I thought it was cool that I guess they probably get a lot. Not guess, they get a lot of imports because you know they in the desert. But them prices was out of this world, y'all. It said golden apples from Italy was $10.50. Then I think I saw something that was like from the U.S., like fruit from the U.S. that was like $12. I said a bag of apples here is like $5 or $6, and you getting at least 10 apples in them. Like, I would never eat an apple again if it cost $10.50. We then see this sign that it said non-Muslims, I guess. I don't think it said for non-Muslims. And it was basically their pork. So if you don't know, most Muslim people do not eat, like not most, all Muslim people are supposed to not eat pork. It's not seen as something that is good to eat in their religion. So I guess they accommodate those who are not Muslim by having pork flown in, but you have to be a non-Muslim in order to enter that area and, offer pork. They, what's her name? Lisa even said that like it's like in a whole other section in the grocery store. But she's getting ready for Thanksgiving. We find out that Lisa's going to have over Ayan, and then Nina is having Sarah and her son over for Thanksgiving as well. We then see Nina FaceTime Lisa, and I didn't even like pay attention. I think she was talking about her conversation that she had with Ayan, but she was talking too much to the point where the little boy, like, they had opened up a little thing of Oreos, and she was like, Lisa was like, you can have one. To the point where Lisa wasn't paying attention enough to notice that her child was just sitting there eating a box of Oreos with the crumbs all on his face. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. But she ended up spending like $1,300 basically at the grocery store. I said, you know what? More power to y'all. Y'all got the money to spend that money. Spend your money. Spend your card-on coins. Okay, so it's Thanksgiving. And like I said, Nina and Sarah are having Thanksgiving together with their families. And then Lisa and Ayan are celebrating Thanksgiving together. So Lisa is doing her whole thing. We see her cooking the Jamaican food. And the food looked actually really good. And then we see Nina and Sarah, and they actually get in that huge Ferris wheel when they do the landscape. I did not know that Ferris wheel was that big. I wish they would have did what they did with the Burj Khalifa and the Dubai frame in the first episode, where they took a picture and then they said what the name was and like when it was built, but they didn't do that with the Ferris wheel. But the Ferris wheel is huge, and the little pods that are connected to the Ferris wheel, you can actually have a party in there. Like, they had a full, beautiful table set up with a cute little pink chair in the back. And they had like a full-on, like, full course meal. We find out that Nina's Thanksgiving meal was salad, stuffed turkey, kibbeff, shisha tawak, French fries, pecan pie, and vanilla ice cream. So all the kids actually like enjoying themselves. They were like running around eating, except for one of, I think her name's Sophia, which is like the middle child on Nina's side. That was like, sis was like, I don't want to be in here. This don't feel safe. But it does seem like they enjoyed themselves. We got more history about Miss Nina. So we found out that her husband actually works in entertainment, like children entertainment. They actually saw a building that had a huge red teddy bear on it, and I guess that was like the moniker for his building. We found out that Nina and her husband like met based off of a picture. So like her sister's friend, I think, hooked them up, but he saw her on a picture and was like, "Ooh, she cute. Put a good word in for me. Let me holla." And turns out that they really liked each other. They met in 2011. He was flying from Dubai to America on the weekends, so much so that he became a platinum member for the airlines. Do you know how much flying you have to do? And I know for a fact he was sitting on that plane for over like 20 or 15, at least between over 15 hours from Dubai to America. Like, could not be me. Could not be me. So I thought that was actually sweet that that's how they got together. But that's when we find out they talk about Nina being, not Nina, Sarah. Gosh, Sarah being divorced twice, and how, she wants to be married. She wants to find love, and like her parents are okay with her not getting married. They're actually okay with her just being single. But I guess because I guess divorce is looked down upon so negatively in Dubai, her family does worried about how her life will be impacted without having being attached to a man in some capacity. But she says she does want to be married and she does want to find love. It was cute. Then, like I said, we saw Lisa making her Jamaican food, getting ready for the peoples, and what's her name? Ayana, her family comes over. We meet her husband, Chris. I think that's his name. And then you see the kids and everything. It was cute. They brought a goat. And I guess Ayana was saying how, like, in Kenya, you don't go over people's houses without bearing them a gift. She was like, a goat means a lot to people, where, like, they give you goats when you have a new home, when you have a baby, when you get married. It's a huge symbol. And I would think so, because goats can either be milk or food. Either way, you're gifting somebody's an animal. But like, she was like, we not cooking them up. I thought it was cool how Lisa was like, girl, in Jamaica, he would have been in somebody's pot. True. Goat, oh my God, goat is so good. Curry goat is fire. Curry goat is fire. Especially if you get the right people to make it. Ooh, over some rice. Curry goat is fire. Curry goat is fire. So we find out that, like, Ayan really loves Lisa. Like, she's like, girl, that's my ride or die. She's always there for me. She makes me happy. And Lisa feels the same way. So I think that's great that they have that type of relationship. We also meet Lisa's friend. I think her name is Charlena. Yeah, Charlena. She was a cute lady. That's which is like, they've been friends. She looked like she a transplant. Well, I mean, she has to be. She look like a black lady. She a transplant. But for Lisa's Thanksgiving, they had salad, crab, jerk turkey, lamb chops, curry prawns, macaroni and cheese. I would probably eat at Lisa's. If anything, we eating at Lisa. Lisa made macaroni and cheese, so she already got me there. But I'm probably gonna eat that jerk chicken and them lamb chops. I'm a devourer. So, and everything on here, the crab, the salad, the jerk turkey, the curried prawns, the lamb chops. Girl, I'm at Lisa's. Where my plate? I did think it was crazy that by the end of the dinner, the goat fell into the pool, and then they couldn't find it. So I was like, they're gonna be walking in that neighborhood and they're gonna see that black and white goat. I thought that was hilarious. But we get a little bit more information about Ayan as well in this scene, about how she never knew what love was until she met Chris. So we find out that she met her husband in 2000, I think she said 1999. So, but they showed pictures of the 2000s, of 2000, I mean. And they met right after high school, like right after she graduated from high school. She was like, I was dancing on the dance floor. He saw me. He wanted to dance. We got the dancing, and they just fell in love from there. And she said that was the best decision for her. Like, she knows what love is because of him. And it's sad, because she should have known what that was before, but we find out why she doesn't know what it is. But I am happy that she found somebody that makes her feel safe and special, and that she can experience what she's always wanted to experience, which is to be in a loving family. Because she seems to really have that with her son and with her husband. So it was a cute moment. So then the last scene we get is of Ayan and Sarah meeting up. And Ayan goes to Sarah's house, and they really have a great conversation. Ayan lets us in on a lot more about why she's triggered, like why that situation triggered her. We find out that her daddy was no good. She was like, he was a great father, and then it was like a switch. Like, he just stopped wanting to be a father, and he contributes that a lot of the bad things that happened to him was because of me, because of right around the time, I guess, Ayan came around and was born. That's when that happened. She was like, when he left, she got, waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, traversing a river to go buy like fruit and stuff, and then bring it back to the village and sell it for her family. He tried to marry her off when she was 14, but the only reason why it didn't happen was because her older sister saved her and was like, don't go with him. Like, he is trying to marry you off. And then she did something where she got into the pool, not a pool, like she got into the river when she wasn't supposed to, and her father tied her to a tree. And I guess he like, I don't know if he beat her or if he just left her there. So she was just like, it's really hard for her to like forgive somebody that did all those horrible things to her. And that's true. That like, you cannot fault her for that. For you to be beat upon for no reason, for someone to try to like sell you into child bridedom. I think that's what being a child bride at 14. And then to like stop wanting to be a parent to the point where she had to become the adult. That's a lot to take on as a child. So it's understandable. Sarah shares with us that like she just has this propensity to choose men where she just wants to fix them. And like she has this feeling of being desperate to be loved. So she's willing to take anything. And that's sad because she's beautiful. Both of them are beautiful and don't deserve that. Both of them are gorgeous and don't deserve that. But Sarah said, the way she's gotten over her issues is going to hypnotherapy. So she encourages Ayan to go to it so she can be free from that anger and that resentment that she feels towards her father, so she can move on. Especially, I like when Sarah said, when you're triggered, you start to bleed on people that don't even hurt you. And that's totally correct. So they end that episode with taking a dig at Caroline Brooks, where they say, Ayan said, Caroline Brooks always told me to go to therapy. And she said she's been going to therapy for years, but I don't think it's working. And then that's where the episode ended. So I like this episode. It was cute. I give it like a B. It wasn't as spicy as I thought. The next episode seems like it's going to be a good time. But that's it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic, y'all. Drop down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Deuces.